we cover topics that may be triggering for some people to listen to, specifically in relation to mental health and eating disorders. If you'd like to know more, please visit our website at www.empowerednw.nhs.uk. That's enough from me, over to the experts.
So, hi guys, welcome back to the Empowered podcast. Joining us today is Worthy and India. So shall we start off?
Yeah, so we'll let Worthy introduce himself in a little while, but Georgia, should we catch up over what's happened over the last few weeks?
It's been busy, I'm not gonna lie. We've been to a few little things, haven't we? I'm just trying to have a little think. So we had the transformation event which was held in Liverpool at Aintree Racecourse. That was really good. I really felt like we were I really felt like we were heard. Like there were a lot of professionals. Not that we haven't been heard in the past, but I just felt like really connected and involved in the conversations that were happening around the room. We did a few presentations, so I sit on Level Up as well as India and Empowered. So I feel like that was really well received. How do you think it went?
I think because we were sat on various different tables, we had a good opportunity to mingle with people we probably wouldn't have mingled with before. So we met some clinicians. I've not spoke to most of the clinicians that we sat with. So I think it was really good to hear what they're doing in their areas and how CWP compares and like how we can all be on one page. And it was really good to talk with the Priory as well, because that's like I definitely haven't spoke to them since I left. So I think it was good to chat about some things that, were going on and, how what the future is gonna look like. So yeah, I really did enjoy that transformation event, getting to talk to different people and mingle within different tables.
Yeah, and we had that task, didn't we? So I think it was 3 things that you feel like your patch is doing really well, and like 3 things that could be improved on. So that was really interesting because there were some similarities, but then there were some differences as well. And like you said, we spoke to a couple of consultants, which was really interesting. I can't remember which hospital they were from. Can you? But either way, I think some really healthy discussions were had, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one already.
I know, and it's going to be a few months, but yeah, it's good to see how much has changed each time as well, and how much things are moving on.
Yeah.
And what people can take from each area, so it can all be unified. But no, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
What else have we been up to? So it's almost Christmas now, which is really
When you'll be
exciting. But
listening
by
to
the
this,
time we
it'll
post
be
this, yeah, we kind of do this like a month in advance. So I feel like life is just really busy. Like uni, I have not started the dissertations yet. That's like all these jobs are racking up. Yeah,
no comment on uni work.
yeah, maybe not.
But next time we do one of these, you'll be married.
Oh, don't. That's crazy.
That is so exciting.
I know.
I mean, I bet you're so sad that I can't be there, but
Well, you'll be off in Dubai.
I
Your
know,
son
maybe I just won't come back.
Get a one-way ticket.
Oh, don't say that. I might get arrested. You have to have a return, but yeah. I'm really excited though because I'm gonna do some networking whilst I'm over there, for one day.
Prospects, love it.
So yeah, no, that's really exciting. Oh my god, I got a new car. Everyone's
Yes.
gonna see me skirting. You will not miss me.
Have you named the
But
car yet?
no.
I feel like cars have to have a name, don't they? Especially if it's a nice car. Like people do that, don't they? It's not just like
Yeah, I've always had a name for my cars, but
you have
Mavis
to
was
get
one
things.
of them.
That's cute.
R.I.P. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else to update on. Everything seems pretty boring.
So by the time we post this, it will be New Year. which link into kind of eating disorder recovery is a really difficult time of year for many people who suffer and people who don't suffer as well with eating disorders. I think it can be quite a toxic and um, really heavy like time of year, isn't it? Everyone's kind of coming down off the Christmas festivities and it can get really intense. So, there's a lot of diet culture and New Year, New Me, and you've got all these adverts everywhere for weight loss and things like that. So I think it's important for us to recognize that it is such a difficult time of year. And I know that, past me really, really struggled because I think my eating disorder was like, oh, well, took it as a bit of an opportunity. Like everyone was trying to get fit at this time. Everyone was, hitting the gym and on diets and stuff. So, yeah, it was really difficult. So I don't know how you found it, India.
Yeah, I I think just the dark nights as well, and then it being after like such a hyped up event. It's like the come down of the
Yeah.
festivities, and then you've got like is it Blue Monday and stuff. And people have got to go back to work. You've got to go back to uni. You've got to go back to real life. But then you do see all this stuff on social media, and then it doesn't look it doesn't look as suspicious if you are dieting or if you are exercising. So
More
people do
acceptable,
take
isn't
that,
it? Yeah.
you take that as an opportunity. But not worth it, in
No,
my
absolutely
opinion.
not. And it's important to hang in there. I think, January feels like a really long month. I know like paydays are messed up around Christmas, so people kind of feel it even more so. But yeah, it drags, doesn't it? Like it's yeah, I'm not a fan of January, even though my birthday's in January. But um yeah, so I kind of any advice really?
I think we could
Um
touch back on this in a little bit and talk about, how to make the most out of the new year, maybe.
yeah,
So after
absolutely.
we've introduced Worthy, and then Worthy can hop in on any advice he may have for struggling with January blues. But yeah, Worthy,
Hi,
who are you?
who am I?
Int-
That's a really
Introduce
good
yourself.
question. Yeah, so hi, I'm thank you for inviting me on today. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you two like smashing it and all the events and things like that. So thank you for asking me to ruin and bring the tone down a little bit by having you on, on me on your podcast. But I'm Worthy. I'm the clinical commissioner for eating disorders for the Northwest. I'm a nurse by background, a mental health nurse. I've been working in mental health for, oh, I was thinking about this, about 20 years, and I've worked for the NHS for 18 years, which just completely blows my mind. So I've been working across lots of different things while I've been a mental health nurse. I've been in rehab, I've worked in acute services, I've worked at CAMS, I've worked in forensics. Like, trust me, after 18 years, you can get through a few different placements. But I was really interested what you just said about kind of you going to Dubai and networking, because I actually did one of my nursing placements in Dubai all those years ago. So, and when I was there, it was really brand new. There was not really mental health. So it was
Yeah.
It's
really,
it's changed so much. I did join a
yeah.
webinar the other week, and like they've in the last 5 years they have progressed massively. Like the
Wow.
primary care practitioners are like upskilled now to deliver first line interventions, and I think it's a really good
Amazing.
opportunity to get my foot in now whilst it's still on its way up. And they also use experts by experience,
Wow.
which
I
I was
mean,
so shocked about.
I mean, if you get the opportunity, let me tell you, it is wild out there. It's really good. But yeah, I did my one of my kind of shorter placements, but did it over there. So yeah, it was really interesting actually. It's really good on the old CV, by the way. I still put it on all my CVs now because it's just, even though it was just like one hospital in the middle of a desert when I went, it was a long time ago. But yeah, so that's kind of pretty much what I do. But on like a daily basis, my job is to kind of just like oversee the pathway, the eating disorders pathway, making sure the right referrals, the best referrals, as in ones that are done correctly, that have the patient's voice in there and families and things like that, just to make sure that we're getting the right service and the right treatment. But it's, I mean, it's a bit more. I've just kind of minimized it a lot, but I'm sure there's more I could talk about. But it's basically, we're just there to kind of make sure that that pathway runs as smooth as possible. And as you know, you kind of always see me at kind of events and things like that. And I'm always going visiting the hospitals to check in on people. And yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell what I do. But yeah, it's great. It's great.
You say you've been in the NHS for 18 years, but you've been a nurse for 20. What's been your favourite thing? Where's your favourite placement, or where's the best place you've worked?
Ah, that's really put me on the spot. That's a great question.
Sorry, that
So,
wasn't a planned question. I'm just interested for myself.
no, it's great. No, well, obviously this job, because I get to work with you guys. So that's like, it's just as well as my boss is listening. That's always good to throw that one in. I actually really like working for the street triage team with the police. That was like, and working in A&E, because I got to be like right at the front of the services, and that was like quite a new service when I worked there. So it was like trying to develop all those kind of different things. But that was the most exciting, although it was really stressful. And
Imagine like you're
yeah,
it's like you've got to make a choice as to whether someone goes into hospital, if they're going back out into the community, what's getting put in place. Like that's a lot on someone's head.
it really is. It really, really is. And I think, it's not something that I would have probably done as a quite a new practitioner. I don't think I would have done that job, because it is a lot. You have to make those decisions. And sometimes, we do get things wrong. And it's just having that confidence to make sure that you know what you're doing, which is always a good start, to be honest. But it's just, it was a great job, because I mean, as you probably know and probably can tell, I'm not really shy, and I like being at the forefront of things. But yeah, if you rang 999 for a few years, I was the one that would turn up. So I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe people just thought, oh, I'm all right now if I don't have to go along with him. So.
Or they're all right now because, maybe you helped them on the street,
I'd like
or
to
when
think
you
so.
spoke to them.
I mean,
No,
I'd
but
really like to think so.
that sounds really, really interesting, and I suppose no day would be the same.
Definitely not. No, it was really difficult, and it was really interesting, and it was just so lovely as well, because you got to meet people. I am absolutely a people person, and you got to meet all these different people who were in crisis. And that's kind of one of the things that I love about this job. And I could be one of the guys that would be like one of the faceless ones that just kind of sits in the background and like overlooks referrals, but that, unfortunately, that just isn't me. So I like being out and meeting people and getting to know the story, because one, I'm really nosy. Let's put it that way. I'm really, really nosy. And two, I genuinely do care about people. And I think it's to be in that, to have that privilege of meeting people at the worst time and then seeing them progress to the best times that they're having is just like, I mean, what other job can you see that? You didn't get that in Tesco's, do you? To see someone with a miserable face at the till. But no, I think for me, it really is like just being there with people and really getting to know that story. I just think it's such a privilege. I don't want to sounds like one of those like Hallmark Christmas cards, doesn't it? But it is genuinely a privilege to kind of
Can
work
I have a
with
pay
people.
rise?
Yeah, I always say that. Doesn't happen though, does it? Well, that's another podcast in entirety, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh no, that's fab. It sounds like you've really had some good experiences within the field, and I think that's one of mine and George's absolute dreams. So,
Yes, I would
Just
love to have a position like I did, to be honest, I did spoke in Arrow Park down to A&E, and they have like kind of they have a few rooms designated for the mental health patients, and I think that's where you were going on about, wasn't it, Worthy?
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
I worked, at Arrow Park at A&E.
Yeah,
Great team, really good
yeah,
team.
it's chaos some days, but
Yeah. Imagine
yeah, it's
that.
really interesting.
Imagine the chaos, but with me on top of it. So it was never a dull moment, let me tell you that. But no, I think one of the advice for like, because I know that you're nearly qualified and you're getting ready to like go into the big world and do all that. And I think, you know, and for you as well, India, like just take every single opportunity that you can find. Like say yes to every course, like yes to every like taste a day that you might go and see something. And I think because that's literally the only tip that I can give to any like professionals as well, is, and even professionals that like me that have been doing this for quite a while now, is like, you never stop learning. Unfortunately, you will have to go and do all those CPD, the
Yeah.
continuing professional development courses, that you get to a point where you just like eye roll. But actually, when you think about it, you get to just experience this new stuff, and it's always really good. I've just been on one with the Royal College and with the Maudsley about eating disorders in the community, and even though it wasn't really my kind of area, or it wasn't something that I really needed to know, I actually sat back and looked at all the work that community teams are doing, and just sat and thought, well, this is the right way to go, isn't it? So yeah, that's my number one tip for professionals.
Oh yeah, do you know me and Georgia? We it's like we don't say no to anything, and I think when it comes to our career, we're always trying to like find ways to up and up and up it.
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder, isn't it?
Exactly.
But also, just be mindful about how much stuff you do, because you
Yeah.
cannot be about 50 different people. And I know that. I hear like you guys are just are on like panels and forums and doing this, and like, but just be mindful that you're not super, well, you are superheroes, but you're not a superhuman. So
Well, passion though, like it's so hard. I was speaking to Fiona about this, weren't we, Inda? And
Yeah.
it's really difficult because we love what we do, and we want to help, and it does become quite difficult sometimes. Like like I don't know if any experts by experience will be watching this, but it can be quite difficult. But when you're so passionate about something, like I just think of myself when I was unwell and in hospital and under services, like I just wish I had had someone like that, or more people
Advocating.
to advocate, yeah, for people like me. So I just, yeah.
well, you're definitely in the right job then. That's all I'm going to say.
We
You're
were
definitely in the
definitely
right job.
saying we were saying this on when we had a chat yesterday. We were saying it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's so rewarding. But
Absolutely.
Georgia, I don't think you actually have any sleep at all, do you? Like, I think you literally run on an hour a week.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
but it feels good to give something back as well, because for those little times of good care you did receive, and to highlight those as well as the
Yeah.
negatives, and to
yeah.
improve the negatives.
And we're
I,
moving forward, like as an NHS as well. I feel like experts by experience are coming in more. And I think, did we read somewhere that like, I don't know whether it's kind of, it's more successful in some trusts than others, isn't it? But
Yeah.
we're definitely coming into kind of this period of time where experts by experience are becoming more common, and they are going into services, and just through the nature of life and the day and age that we're in, people are coming back that used to be patients, and I think it's really important to kind of give them a voice. And because I think sometimes there's this massive disparity between patients and professionals, and it's something that I'm quite passionate about, and I hate that gap that there is,
Mm.
this kind of hierarchy where, well,
ah,
actually no, we need to be level. Like we learn from each other. Like people that I look after, I learn from them all the time, and I'm sure they can learn from me. So I think it needs to, yeah, it's something that I get a bee in my bonnet about, because I'm like, no, like come on, we need to work together. But yeah,
I
it's
love
just,
that. I
yeah.
absolutely love that. And I think, excuse me, one of the things that, the reason why I got into this job was somebody that I knew actually took their own life, and I wanted to be able to kind of see whether or not, I don't mean to bring the mood down, by the way, but I
Oh no.
wanted to make sure that, there was I wanted to know if I could have done anything, or if there was anything that I should have done, or if we ever missed anything. And I think, the fact that the experts by experience is so important, and my God, they are so important. Lived experience is the one thing that actually you can empathize with someone, because mental health services don't need people who feel sorry for people. We don't, like, we shouldn't sympathize with anybody in the
Mhm.
sense of offering sympathy. It's completely empathy or complete empathy, should I say, that we need to have. And I think you understanding at some level what they're kind of maybe going through,
And you
it
can't teach
puts,
that, can you? You can't
no,
teach.
you
It's
definitely can't.
just, yeah.
No, I can read books. I can read as many books, as many papers, and as many like however, whatever they do now, I don't know. I think education's moved on since I was in uni, but you know, all these kind of different things, they can do all of that. But actually, if you don't, if you don't care, and there are, you know, there are times when I feel that services, I'm not talking about individuals, but I'm talking about like services feel like it's kind of not caring in a way, and it becomes like a paper exercise, or it becomes like, well, you know, so that's something that when I took this job, I wanted to really make sure that we weren't doing. And then when obviously you guys came on board, and I just think it's really good. And I think, didn't we meet in the first time, like were we at like a Pride event or something like that?
Yes, I think it was Worthy. It was you and Fiona, and
Yeah,
I was out in Liverpool, you know, like celebrating Pride, and um, yeah, we were going across like all the stalls, and I'm there like for the freebies and stuff, and Liam's like traipsing along after me, um, and yeah, so I think that's where we first met, and I remember saying, you know, like I'm an ex-service user, you know, but yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like,
really mad. And
yeah.
then India, obviously you coming on board and meeting for the first time, and like, I just think it's just so good. And like, because are you doing? Is it psychology that you're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be one of those. You're going to be a psychologist.
Well, I still don't know what I want to do. I have just been
Really?
accepted for a master's.
Oh wow, amazing.
Conditional. I know.
Yeah.
I got well, and it's in Manchester as well, which is so ideal. So yeah, working my way up there slowly, but you know, with psychology, how long it takes.
She gives
Stuff
me
Yeah.
I've planned
therapy
for
sessions every
forever.
day anyway, so quids in.
But imagine as well, imagine knowing the science, and this is why I'm so buzzed about it. This knowing the science behind why you're doing something and what you're doing, but then having that underpinning knowledge of like, my God, well, if I'd have been just told this, if I was like at my when I was going through your, like, you know, your crisis stages, or when you were unwell, or however you want to call it, like, you know, I just think it's just really great. And I think, and I will say, and I do say it all the time, I think the experts by experience, and Fiona, my God, legend. I think, you know, I think you guys together are really what are making the changes. And like, I sit on these meetings that are like, and they are dull, let's be honest, they're dull. And then you guys look at them and say, well, why are you doing it this way? Can we do it this way? And then we just think, ah, it's like a breath of fresh air. So it's really great. It's really great.
Do you know, it really does feel good to have this experience and do what we do, but then I don't want to be within this kind of role. I don't mind like my lived experience following me, but when I go to work in a professional role, I don't want my past to be seen as the present, because I have
Yeah.
worked so hard to get to where I am that like when I work in a professional capacity, I want to be known for that work in between, and I want to
Yeah.
be,
Wow.
and because you know that the God knows how many years that I was unwell, they were when I was unwell, and I'm not like I'm not that person anymore. I've been speaking about this quite a lot to different professionals that I've actually worked with when I was unwell, but then now in a professional capacity. And yeah, they're saying that no, that's you're not the same person,
It's really,
No.
it's
and
really
we need to see past
controversial,
that.
isn't it? Yeah.
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 Like, and just to kind of go back, I just wanted to interject about kind of where they're saying about, you know, going into psychology and things. Like, how healing is that to go to be in a certain place and maybe use certain behaviors and really struggle with your mental health, but then actually get into a place where you're understanding the science around the brain and trauma and attachment. Like, that is so healing, I imagine. Obviously I'm not doing psychology, but I know that I have personally found, not that everyone has to then go into services, kind of if they've struggled in the past, but I've got a friend, and I know she won't mind me talking about this, and she, you know, really struggled as you know, a young person, and now she's doing her masters, a bit like you, India. And she said to me, the only reason why I went onto the course was because I just wanted to understand. I
Wow.
wanted to know, like, it wasn't, she didn't even necessarily want to like go on and do psychology and become a psychologist. She said, I just thought I had a bit of time, I'll do this degree. And she, you know, she would ring me and be like, Georgia, like, you know, this is why. Do you understand this? Like, do you relate to this? And this is why I was doing that. And actually, that was such a healing process for her. Um, so yeah, I just think it's amazing.
I think that is really, I think that's really good, and I didn't even think I even really thought about that being a thing really, but I think it's just really interesting, and you know, I just thought it was really interesting what you said, like, you don't want your past to follow you. And God, I was just like in my head, I was laughing because just before the podcast we started recording, I was telling you a little bit about what happened when I was younger, let's say, and in my mid 20s, and actually, I think if you saw me when I was in my mid 20s, I don't think you'd really want me on a podcast me talking about mental health because. I mean, I was a bit wild, and I think I have the luxury of that not following me around. I mean, apart from the occasional photograph that might pop up somewhere, but it's. I think that's absolutely. I didn't. I don't know how to explain that. That was really powerful for me because no, why would you want your past to follow you? You wouldn't want your ex following you around, would you?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Like no one blames anyone or kind of holds anyone accountable for some drunken night. No
no.
one's professional, kind of capabilities gets questioned. Well, I don't know, maybe or something stupid we did when we were younger. So why does mental health have to stick with us and kind of be like this dirty secret on our
Absolutely.
back? It's not at all. Like it actually helps to inform our practice now,
Oh,
and whilst it's really
absolutely.
difficult to sit and say like that wasn't us, but it was us. And although India, like I think it's important to get across that you're not saying that you're trying to forget about it. And
I was just gonna
yeah,
say that, yeah.
yeah, you have used that experience to transform yourself in a way to be the person
Yeah.
that you are now. And
Yeah.
now and again, you might thinking about it, and you might use it in your practice and think, oh well, how was I feeling at that point,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But it's not defining who you are. It's
Right.
just using
And
it.
And I think, let's if we're going to go all sciencey and nursey and psychology, like we're all products of our environment. Whether there's a biopsychosocial model that you'll probably be sick to death of hearing, but we are literally a product of everything. So everything that I did when I was younger, I mean, I know it's probably hard to imagine, but I was pretty wild. Um, and that okay, I couldn't do it now. I wouldn't want to do it now, but actually it really informed me on who I am now. It gave me the confidence to be able to speak to people who are in very difficult situations. My goal in life is, I really pride the fact that when people talk to me and I talk to people, like I like making them laugh. I like making them see positive side of things. I like making sure that people are resilient, building that resilience within people. And that, you can sit there with the tech. I'm just sat in my office now with like all these big textbooks all around me. Like that textbook is not going to fix somebody. It's a mixture of your skills, the science behind it, and how you apply it. So all that stuff that you've done in the past that you might go, well, if I had my chance again, I probably wouldn't have done that, or I wouldn't have gone down that route. But actually, sometimes I think you need to stop and go, well, actually, I'm really glad that I did do that and
Yeah.
I did mess up
Yeah.
there because this brings me to the point that I'm at now. And if you'd had not done that, would you be at this path now? So, yeah, it's I don't want to
Yeah.
sound like all, let's manifest everything and things, but
No,
actually,
yeah.
all
Yeah.
this stuff is absolutely what makes you who you are. Even the bad stuff, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the bits that you wouldn't want any parents to know, or like, the stuff that I absolutely got up to that my mum and dad do not need to know. But it made me the person that I am today, which is probably someone who's really annoying, but I think it's really important. But it's just so good and lovely to hear your two success stories because it is a success.
Yeah, and I think because we have worked so hard, and I can't remember what I was gonna say, but yeah, really, it's like everyone has lived experience, that's what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
in some kind of way. So you had a friend that passed, that in itself is lived experience, and that probably gave a lot to you to get to where you are. I know it's an
Yeah,
awful situation, and
And
obviously,
it gives you
we
that
don't
drive.
want anyone to go,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's give you that motivation to push and push and push for this. And I
yeah,
think I forgot what I was going to say, but I think this
No,
is
I
just
completely
one
agree
of them
with you,
things
yeah.
that me and Georgia are just so passionate about, because that's what I was going to say. I believe everything happens for a reason, and I always say I am grateful that I suffered all them years, because it has given me all of this insight, and it's made me so motivated. Like, this is my 6th year at uni, right? I've had to leave so many times to go into hospital, but I'm so determined to get to the end so I can keep working and keep working. You do know what I mean? I don't want to sound all inspirational and stuff,
No,
but
no, it's
it's
true though. It's
It
true,
is
isn't it?
inspirational though. That's the thing. It absolutely is inspirational that you can just, because there are, I don't, and honestly, I don't know if I would be as strong as that. I don't know whether I'd be as strong as that. And to see kind of yourself, and it's, I'm only saying this because you two are on here, but like I see people every single day that just like blow my mind with just how resilient they are, considering what's, because I don't know whether I'd just hide under a rock and never
You
come out
say
again.
that, Worthy, though. You say that when, but when you're forced to, like, our bodies and our minds are capable of horrific but also amazing things. And until we all think, oh, I wouldn't be able to do this, I wouldn't be able to do that. But you hear
You're
of all
right.
them stories of like people running into a burning house to save kids or animals and stuff. Well, that's like the mind. Like, until you are pushed to
Yeah.
your absolute limits, and I always used to think like, oh, is this rock bottom? And then I found out that rock bottom had a basement, and then
Yeah.
like, until you're sat there and you feel like you can't give anymore, and for some reason you just do. It's life, isn't it? You just
yeah,
carry on, and
You're right.
like when my friend passed away, I remember thinking like, oh, I can't, like, how am I supposed to get through the next day, the next week? And I was adamant that I wasn't going to be here. And but then, however many years later, you sit and you're like, I actually don't know how I got
Yeah.
through this. And it's the mind and the body are
Yeah.
amazing things, and
They
I just
absolutely
think that
are. And and you are right. And I think a lot of the time I have been quite lucky in my life with lots of different things, and maybe luck's the wrong word, but actually what you're saying really resonates, and absolutely it's 100% true, because like one of the things that like I was a CBT practitioner, cognitive behavioral therapy. When I was doing that, I was like, I remember doing the post grad study at Salford Uni, thinking, this is actually really good information. Like I could use this for myself, and I use it today. Like mindfulness is a really big thing that I use, and I was going to show you, but I'm not going to show you. Like I do the mindfulness coloring I've just started. It's absolutely horrific. I'm not artistic at all, but I actually sat doing it, and then a minute like well, what I thought was about 5 minutes later, an hour had passed, and actually I hadn't thought about anything else for an hour, and that's really like for me, as you can imagine, I'm a bit chaotic. So that actually an hour where I didn't think about anything was
yeah,
just like incredible. And I totally agree with what you're saying. The mind is so powerful, and that's why when it goes wrong, it goes wrong.
yeah.
definitely. Well, I've really enjoyed, that little tangent we've gone on. I think it's just one of those things that's really been on mine and George's mind, because we have had like quite an awful few years in hospital, and going through services and all of that, and that is the motivation that we've got to improve services and you know highlight what was good in ours. But yeah, I won't keep going on about it because I could talk about it all day. But just because we've been through that, and we might have been a nightmare unwell, a nightmare back then, it doesn't mean that we're not competent now. In
Of
fact,
course.
we probably it could be some more competent than some of the stuff that we've come across before, because we do have that
We
empathy, and we
different set of skills.
yeah, exactly, yeah, we've got that communication, and that's what people need, the human connection
Yep.
to heal.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And also, we don't want a ward of staff full of people with exactly the same skill set, because that's not the whole premise of an MDT, multidisciplinary team. We want multi-disciplines. So we want, like, people that have had lived experience. We want the qualified, trained staff. We want the people that have got life experience. We want the people who are like dietitians and the ones who are like all that kind of stuff. That's what we want on awards. So why we want we want that for people as well. Putting 1,000 me on awards is not going to do anything. Well, it's going to be absolutely hell. But actually sharing all those different types of skill sets, I think, is absolutely what we should be doing, and it's just great. And and I'm not trying to say it to make you embarrass you, but I am blown away with the stuff that you do. But I also just think like you've just got to protect yourselves, I think, a little bit, and that goes for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've got to know our limits. Unfortunately, I don't really know mine yet either. So
Yeah, I think because I think we're all so passionate, the people that, even people without the lived experience, you are passionate once you get into it, and when you see those results, it kind of motivates you more, when you get the positive outcomes.
Yeah.
So it can be hard to step back and say no, because you can just see it moving, and it makes you feel good.
yeah,
But yeah, I think this episode's like, it's
It's
just
gone so
like
quickly,
the
like,
mindful colouring is.
yeah.
yeah,
So we could kind of touch on New Year just to end it slightly, because it is a really difficult time, and I think we did highlight that. But have you got any thoughts about like the New Year blues and
yeah.
going back to work?
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to do that. It's totally get it, but it's about, there are things, and one of my favorite words is boundaries, and I think this is kind of what I've been alluding to the whole episode is about, making sure that you know what your limits are and saying to people like you can say no to people and you can say no to things, and you can like, we always worry about letting people down if we say no. One example is like, going on a night out and you sat there and you're like, oh, I don't want to. I just want to sit at home with my animals, my pets, with like a hot chocolate and watch a film. That's okay to say it, and I think that is really important because we to be worried about if you worried about what you're saying to your friends about whether you don't want to go out, then I need to look at your friends are. To be
Absolutely.
honest.
It's so true, so true.
But I think, yeah, just being, and again, what the only thing that I ever really think that we can do is to build resilience in people, because looking at no matter what kind of medical mental health condition you suffer from or experience rather than suffer, I think having that moment where you go, you know what, maybe I can't do a whole night. Maybe I can go and meet them for 10 minutes. Maybe I can go and see them in the afternoon. Maybe if I just do this a little bit this week, then next week might be a bit easier. All it is about building resilience. And that is, I think, the secret to we can't cure anxiety. Anxiety is something that keeps us alive. It stops us from just wandering into the middle of the road. We don't want to cure people feeling or get rid of people feeling sad, because then how would you ever experience happiness? There are all these kind of different things. All we want to do is build the resilience for when you're having a bad day, it's a bad day. And when you're having a good day, it's a good day. We're not trying to completely push that to like you can't be happy all the time. You'd be really annoying. It would be really exhausting. And I think we have to have that balance when it comes to things. And the best, and I know this, I could talk about this all day, but the best cliche that I've ever heard is that if you had £1,000 and you lost a tenner, you wouldn't throw 990 quid away. So why do people do that with a bad 10 minutes of a day? You shouldn't throw the rest of your day away. So I think that's something that like that really resonates with me. But yeah,
I love that
resilience
one.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
boundaries they're my top things. Boundaries. Just if you don't want to go out, don't go out. If you want to go out. If you want to do something, do something. But just make sure that you are protected, because nobody else is going to look after you. You've got to look
Mm.
after yourself.
I think it's a bit of self-reflection and self-awareness that you're kind of talking
Absolutely.
about as well, and I think you can get a bit carried away with yourself, can't you? And you don't reflect on actually how am I going to be able to cope if I go out 5 nights in a row,
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, again, it's about what do you want to achieve as well? Because what are your goals, especially for the new year? We hear of this all the time, like, especially with like eating disorders, diets are wrapped up about being healthy, and actually no one considers about the person that they're advising this to and how they look at things. So actually, what are your goals? Setting self goals for the new year is, I do it every year. I write it on a piece of paper and stick it back of a paper, like a photo frame. And I've done that forever. And then at the end of the year, I look at it and see what I've achieved. And I think those kind of like, we've all heard of SMART goals, haven't we? Specific,
Mm.
measurable, achievable, realistic. Those are the things that we should do anyway. Do them on a daily basis. Do them for the new year. So, but yeah, don't and comparing yourself to other people is a
Yeah,
big thing as
social
well.
media can be dangerous and toxic
Is
and
it?
all of that. I've just got a question. So, how have you done with your New Year's goals this year?
I have only one more thing to do on it, and that's to do a skydive. But I'm not going to do it this year, am I?
You
But
should do it over the palm in Dubai.
I should. I mean, wow. Yeah, definitely. That might be next year's. That might be on next year's list. But yeah, even the little things, like I wanted to go back to the gym was one thing, and I managed to do that. And that's only for me, so I can lift heavy stuff and make sure that I don't get really angry.
But I think that's a great goal, like go back to the gym rather than I'm going to go to the gym every week of every
Yeah,
month
no,
this
Yeah,
year.
or
It's kind
I
of,
need to lose weight,
yeah,
or
yeah,
it's
I want to. No, actually, because there's this thing: people go to the gym to lose weight. No, people go to the gym for many different reasons. Like
absolutely.
endorphins.
to build
Yeah,
strength rather
yeah,
than to lose weight, or setting all these goals. It's absolutely fine to set goals. I think like diet and culture has completely tarnished a lot of New
I
Year's
think it's
resolutions.
about self-reflection as
Yeah.
well, though.
yeah,
Like what are my reasons for wanting to go to somewhere like the gym?
absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
about having that awareness as well.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, but I think that's a great way of putting it. Go back to the gym rather than I'm gonna lift X kilograms by the end of the year or something. It's
yeah.
just
Or
very
I'm not going to look like Harry
achievable.
Styles. Let's be honest. That's not something about, those kind of unrealistic expectations. And that's why I think social media is so toxic when it comes to things like that. And actually, I've just done a cleanse of Instagram where I took out all these what thought were inspirational people going into the gym, but actually they just made me feel really bad about it. Like, so now I just look at cakes and dogs and cats. That's the things
I
that
love it.
matter.
I regularly have a cleanse on like Facebook, Instagram. If someone's not doing it for me and they're
Absolutely.
not doing it for my mental health or my positivity,
Absolutely.
then I'm sorry,
What?
I've got to protect myself. I've got
Absolutely.
to focus on myself, which is
Amazing.
selfish and well, it's unselfish actually, if that's even a
You,
thing. Like,
humans are though, aren't they? Like we are always invested about ourselves. People look after themselves. It's natural. It's built into us. It's instinct. So actually, in some ways, don't feel bad for being selfish. Sometimes people need to be a bit more selfish.
mm,
You need to look after yourself. You can't be
Absolutely.
thinking, oh, what if I do this? What if I do that? How's that person going to feel? How's that person going to feel? Like, set some goals. If you want to set goals, that's fine. If you don't, then don't. If there's going to be a lot of people around you going to the gym, then maybe move away from them a little bit, or there's people that are unhealthy for you, or a bad influence, and you need to start taking yourself away. And actually, yeah, India, like you said, having that reflection and sitting back and thinking, right, what is going to make me happy this year? What do I need less of? What do I need more of?
Yeah.
And starting there.
And being healthy is not all about going to the gym, eating the right foods, doing all those kind of restricting. That's not necessarily healthy. For me, what I'd be, if somebody was going out and sitting with the friends for an hour, that's healthy. That boosts as
yeah,
much kind of serotonin and all those other happy hormones that are around. Doing things that you really enjoy doing things for you. That's not selfish. That's just self-care. And
Yeah.
yeah,
that's something that's really important, massively important. In fact, I'd probably say it's the most important
yeah,
thing, looking after
definitely.
yourself.
People get scared that they're going to upset other people and the outcomes of that upset, and it can be a whole thing, can't it? But at the end of the day, you're born alone and you die alone. Like, you're the only person that's with you through your whole life, you know. So
I mean, I would.
not saying that when you're born alone, but
I
you
know
are
what you
that
mean.
person. Like, you're the only
Yeah.
person that's going to see every single thing of your life. So
Absolutely. And you live with yourself, don't you? You have to like, and I think, being putting yourself first. And I say this again because I work a lot with young people as well and have done. Is like actually putting yourself first in something that's not being selfish. Being selfish, we're talking about doing something that's quite mean or whatever, but actually being selfish and going, well, I don't want to do that, but I just want to go and sit in a park for an hour, or I want to go to the cinema, or I want to do that. How is that selfish? And if
It's
your
self-care, not
friends,
selfish.
Yeah,
exactly,
love
and
it.
if
I
your
really love
friends,
that.
and if those people around you are not loving that, then again, maybe you just need to check who you're hanging around with.
Get rid of them.
Do you know the best friends that I've ever had? I could just sit with all day and do nothing. Like
Yes.
Georgia, I could sit on, like me and Georgia FaceTime every single day, maybe sometimes
Yeah.
3 times a day. But we could just sit there and do nothing. Like we'll just.
And we
it's
do.
just that-
I'm there,
yeah,
like, might go out for some
Yeah.
fresh air, or
Yeah.
I'm sat there like doing some office work, or like yesterday I was
yeah,
wrapping gifts and stuff for the bridesmaids and things like that, and we were just chatting rubbish. But actually,
yeah.
that is very therapeutic in itself, just being able to sit and
Sit,
be in
just sit
somebody
in
else's
silence.
company
Yeah.
with no expectation, with no, like, if someone's coming around to your house and you're having to clean everywhere and make sure
Oh,
everything's in its place.
do you know?
No. Sit down,
No.
sit on the couch.
Yeah, love that. I've got a really I've got all my mates are just they must be something wrong because they put up with me for however many years it is now. But actually, I can sit on the phone and I literally at one point me and one of my friends we'd put the iPad, we'd watch TV together and not say anything,
Yeah.
and it was like when my other half came in, they were like, "That's weird." I was like, "It's not weird. We're watching the same TV program."
It's just like they're
It
here,
just
but they're
happened that
not.
it just happens that they're 50 miles away. But yeah, awesome.
But yeah, no, I don't think I have anything more to add. I don't know about you guys. I think just embrace the
This has
movement.
been,
That's all I
this has
can
been
say.
therapeutic. Worthy, we'll
Yeah.
have it again.
Yeah,
Honestly, you'll soon get bored. You'll soon get bored. But no, I just wanted to say thank you. Thanks for just asking me on. It's been really good. I've really enjoyed it.
we've
Set
been
my
really
day up
looking
now.
forward to this one.
Yeah.
We've been really looking forward to speaking to
We were
you.
like,
So
get
no,
Worthy
thank
in
you as
in his
well.
diary.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I would have cancelled things to do this. So
Oh,
yeah, thank you. I really do appreciate it.
no, we've loved it. Thank you.